Not like this, man. It can't end like this. It seems like the end is near for one of the greatest Dallas Cowboys that we have ever seen suit up for the organization. So we're going to break down the unfortunate update and much more on this episode of Cowboys Digest. Welcome in, everybody, to Cowboys Digest. I'm your host, Peter Vryonis, and we got some sad news to announce, which we will get into in just a moment. But thank you guys for all the support that we've received on previous videos. It truly means the world to me. So let's keep it going right there. Let's keep the subscriber train rolling because we're close to my goal of 3,000, and I wish I didn't have to make a video on this news right here. Cowboys All-Pro guard Zack Martin will have season-ending surgery on his ankle, Coach Mike McCarthy announced. The 34-year-old played in just 10 games this season. And before I get into the nuts and bolts of this video, I just want to acknowledge that Zack Martin is the greatest Dallas Cowboy that I have ever seen. Now, keep in mind, I'm 24 years old. I haven't been around for the glory days, and I've only known pain and suffering. I've only known crushing playoff defeats. I've only known playoff failure. But the one constant in the past decade or so has been Zack Martin. And he has been just everything that you could want in a football player. The guy bleeds Dallas Cowboys. The guy puts his heart out there every single snap. And he's been one of the most consistent performers that we have ever seen at the offensive guard position. He is that good. He is that accomplished. And the fact that it has to end this way for him, at least seemingly has to end this way for him, is truly sickening, because he is going to be a free agent after this season, and who knows what the future holds for him. And Cowboys left guard, Zack Martin, right guard, that is. Next stop, Hall of Fame. Congrats on a great career. Now, Zack Martin has come out and said that he's fully focused and going into next season. He's not thinking about retirement, but it definitely starts to weigh on you when your body starts to break down, when you're no longer the same player that you used to be. And as I mentioned, he is the greatest Dallas Cowboy that I have ever watched. And it's not a glamorous position. It's even less glamorous than a left tackle or a right tackle. But his advanced metrics, his consistency in that offensive line throughout his entire career has just been unbelievable. And he is a leader. He is a Dallas Cowboy at heart, and he was made to be a Dallas Cowboy. And he's going to be a Hall of Famer as soon as he's eligible after his 5 years of retirement. Like, he is that good of a player. And I'm not overstating this. He is the greatest Dallas Cowboy that I've ever had the pleasure of watching. And you know, you really got to study the film. You really got to examine the finer details of the game to actually notice him, because he is a guard, and he maybe doesn't get as much love as some other positions. And the last thing you want to see is goats like Zack Martin go out due to an injury. But this really feels like the end, and I'm sad. And that is Marcus Mosher of the Locked On podcast. I echo those same sentiments, Marcus. I really do. And we move on here. We might have seen the last of Zack Martin in a Dallas Cowboys uniform. Such a bummer. That's from RJ Ochoa. And I'm just getting all of the reaction here that I've seen across Twitter. Dallas Cowboys guard Zack Martin received just about every individual honor that an NFL player can. He deserved Offensive Rookie of the Year in 2014, but he's a lineman, so he didn't win. He belongs in the Ring of Honor and Pro Football Hall of Fame, one of the greatest players in team history. Salute. And if you haven't already, go check out that article from RJ Ochoa. Some great work over there. But it's truly saddening to see, like I've mentioned a few times now, the greatest Dallas Cowboy that I've ever seen just go out not on his own terms. And it absolutely sucks. Micah Parsons came out on his podcast and said that he can't see Zack Martin suiting up for any other franchise. So if the Cowboys don't bring him back, I think he's just going to hang it up. That is what Micah Parsons said, and he continued his reasoning with the fact that Zack is a Cowboy. He bleeds blue and white. He is all about that star on the helmet, and when you think about guys that personify the Dallas Cowboys, he is one of them. And it's not a sexy position. It's not a glamorous job. But he is the best at that spot in the National Football League that we have seen over the past decade or so. And the stats kind of back it up. You see all of those All-Pros. See a lot of first-team All-Pros in Zack Martin's name right there. You got a second-team All-Pro sprinkled in there, but the consistency is what really stands out to me. 16 games played. List goes on and on and on. Then 17 games played. This guy has dealt with some injuries every now and then. He's obviously played through a lot of injuries throughout his NFL career, but the guy's amazing, and I love him. I love you, Zack Martin, as does most of Cowboys Nation, as should every single Dallas Cowboy fan, to be honest. There is never anything bad that you heard about Zack Martin, and I just want to give him all the love that I can right now, because he's the greatest Cowboy I've ever seen. He's electrifying. He is a guy that does all of the dirty work and doesn't get a lot of the praise from, let's say, the casual NFL fan, but he's a superstar. He is an offensive superstar that has allowed the Dallas Cowboys to have one of the more polarizing offenses in the National Football League for quite some time now. Don't look at it this year. Don't use this year's sample size as a gauge for his career. This guy's elite. And a first-round pick that I'm sure Jerry Jones would make 11 times out of 10 if he had to redo that selection. He's amazing. He's a great leader. He's going to be missed if he's not back next season. Let me know in the comments down below. Do you guys want the Cowboys to bring back Zack Martin next year, or do you want to see them roll with TJ Bass and Brock Hoffman, who, by the way, I got to give Brock Hoffman some love. He has stepped in and filled the shoes of an all-pro player, of a future Hall of Famer, admirably, and then some. Like, he has been fantastic this season. So Brock Hoffman, salute to you. I tip my cap, man. But it's very hard to replace Zack Martin. And I think the line is starting to move in a younger direction, in a different direction, and I don't know if those plans include Zack Martin. As much as I'd love to see him go out on his own terms and finish his career the way that he wants to finish it, I just don't think it's in the Cowboys' best interest to spend a ton of money and bring him back. He was a very loyal soldier, maybe the most loyal soldier throughout his entire tenure, and never even thought about going elsewhere. And the Cowboys compensated him. They compensated him handsomely, but when it's time, it's time. And Father Time catches up to everybody. So if this is it for Zack Martin, I want to congratulate him on such an amazing career, for just showing up for Dallas Cowboy fans every goddamn Sunday. And this guy does it all. He does it all. He's a leader. He is a damn good football player. And I'd be remiss if I said that I would not be I would be upset. I would be upset to not see him back, but I'm starting to come to terms with that reality. And I think we should all come to terms with that reality, because when you see news like this, that he's going to have season-ending surgery at 34 years old, and he's already slowed down a step, it's hard to see him being in the future plans of the Dallas Cowboys. Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Go Boys.